The University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Nigeria's premier university, in their 2012 endowment lecture, chose His Excellency Owele Anayo Rochas Okorocha LON as a guest lecturer. The creme de la creme of the university community were all on hand to listen to Owele Rochas Okorocha, whose leadership of Imo State had within a very short space of time made undeniable impact in the lives of the masses. There certainly couldn't have been a better choice of a lecturer to dissect the Nigeria's developmental dilemma than His Excellency Owele Rochas Okorocha, the Governor of Imo State.
Can we look at Nigeria, extra Nigeria, from beginning to the end? And can we look at the leadership question? So do not expect from me a written text, because I'm not used to a prepared text. It was Bob Marley and the Wailers, and for those of you who love music, I love Bob Marley for his philosophical songs. When he said, "For how long shall they kill our prophets while we sit aside and look?" The question today is, for how long will ignorance destroy our nation while we sit aside and look? Someone said to me that Nigeria is 52 years old, and I said, no, Nigeria is not 52 years old. Nigeria is 98 years old. I'm talking about amalgamation. The fact that we had our independence in 1960 does not make us a 52 years old country. We've existed before the advent of our independence. So when we look at Nigeria, we shouldn't be looking at Nigeria from the point of view of 52 years. We should be looking at Nigeria as a country in 2014 will be 100 years old. The question before us then, and I'm going to take a very practical approach. I don't want to sound like a lecturer before the professors begin to mark my thesis. So let me take the humble approach of being practical with you. But my joy today is that, to God be the glory, professors are seated and Rochas is the lecturer. Ladies and gentlemen, on a more serious note, the issue before us is too serious to follow the convention that only people who are qualified to speak must speak in affairs that concerns our nation. And I decided to be talking about leadership so that people can understand truly the problem of Nigeria is a problem of leadership. But I'm not going to talk about security issues, I'm sure. And please accept my condolences on behalf of the National University Commission for the recent shooting in Mobi, where somebody who have graduated in a crime of shooting. What we hear happens in America. But let me also address that before I go into my lectures. But do not be bothered with the insecurity we face in our country. I think this is just happening at the time it has to happen. And if you notice, this is a global issue now. In Mali is coup d'etat. In Syria is near civil war. In America is psycho killing. Somebody goes to a cinema hall and shoot people. In the north is Boko Haram. In the south is kidnapping. So it's not a global issue. And the only way I can describe it is to go back to my God and ask questions, what is happening at this time? So this insecurity is not particular with Nigeria. And recently we're experiencing the kind of flood that we have ever experienced in a century. So for those of you who are Christians, this is the time to put your knees on the floor. So I'm not going to discuss the issue of security in the course of this lecture, because often than not, people have attributed non-development to insecurity, and I disagree. The question today before us is Nigeria a poor nation? Is Nigeria a third nation? And are we cost? The answer is no. I disagree with anyone. Nigeria is not a third nation. Nigeria is not a cost nation. And Nigeria is not a poor nation. If we are cost, then it will, how would God have given us the sweet crude, the arable land, the human resources and material resources, too numerous to mention? So we're not poor. What is poor in Nigeria is the management of the resources of Nigeria. Any day you see this university not doing well, hold the Vice Chancellor responsible. Because there's nothing wrong with the head of state, but there's something wrong with the state of the head. So there could be something wrong with the state of the head of a department, of an institution, or a society, or a country, or a nation, or local government, or a state. But before I do this, let me go back to the topic. Nigeria at 52, the leadership question. Let me start by defining the word leadership. I do know that leadership has been defined by different scholars and different people at different times. But let me take two definitions and then the third one that makes sense to me. One is the one by Peter Drucker, said that leadership is anyone that commands followership. In other words, once you have followers, you're a leader. Maxwell, in his own definition, said, listen, period. Leadership simply means influence, nothing more, nothing less. But there's one definition that I've taken to my heart that is so sweet and so beautiful. It's the one by Miles Monroe. When he defined, he said, leadership is the capacity to influence, to inspire, to motivate, if you like, to direct people to work towards a common cause without the use of the instrument of manipulation. For me, that tends to capture the whole essence of leadership. And I give you this instance. 1 million lions led by a sheep, and 1 million sheep led by a lion. These are two different people in a battle. The 1 million sheep led by a lion has the capacity to defeat the 1 million lion led by a sheep. Because the 1 million sheep led by a lion, the lion who is a leader has the capacity to turn the rest of the sheep into lions. And the 1 million lions led by a sheep, the sheep has the capacity to turn the entire lions into sheep. So be careful when you are choosing a leader, even in a classroom, even as a dean of studies. What makes the difference is leadership. Therefore, leaders, and the Bible said, let me refer to the Bible, I love the word of God. He said, it is for God to conceal a thing and for the kings to discover or uncover it. So what is the problem is that when God has given us human resources and material resources, there's something he left in between, management. And it's the ability to coordinate the human resources and material resources that brings about productivity. So nations that has properly managed their human and material resources are called developed nations. And nations that have not properly managed theirs are called the third world country. I hate to talk about this topic, leadership, because sometimes I might sound too, please bear with me if I sound too bad. But I think the truth must be told. So leadership is everything. I disagree with anyone who tells me that Nigeria is suffering. Nigeria has no money. Nigeria is poor. And what makes it even worse is that when you ask most people, they say, listen, the problem of Nigeria is illiteracy. It's not. They say the problem of Nigeria is there's no electricity. It is not. They say the problem of Nigeria is roads. It is not. This is what is called the symptoms of the disease and not the disease itself. It is like somebody who is suffering from diabetes. If you have medical doctors here, they will understand what I'm talking about. And your diabetes has gotten to the situation where it has affected the island of the Langerhans. And you begin to have swollen foot and sores on your foot. And you go to the doctor to give you a bandage to tie the wound. That bandage can never heal for as long as you have not addressed the disease. The disease in our society is leadership. And until this is done, we cannot make any headway. People often say to me that Nigeria is poor. And I just came back from a lecture where I addressed the Congressional Black Caucus. And it was a very interesting one. And I sat down there, I had Americans telling me about the failure in my land. And I was troubled in my spirit. I felt pain. I felt bad. And I rose to speak to them. Of course, it was a different story when I presented them. I said, listen to me, we're not poor. What you see in Africa and Nigeria is what is called an apparent poverty which does not reflect any practical realities. It is like a child in a fast-moving train, or in a little boy in a fast-moving car. When we're kids, when the car is moving in a bus, we see the trees all moving around, not knowing that we're the people moving. The tree does not move. It's like in my elementary geography, they say sun rises from the east and sets in the west. It's not true. The sun does not rise. The sun does not set. It is we that rise and set the course of rotation and revolution of the earth. So it is important that we must understand this as a nation. Now let me tell you the problem of Nigeria in ABCD form. The problem of Nigeria is that Nigeria does not even understand its problem. So I said to Americans, listen to me. My problem is not that I'm not blessed, more blessed than anyone else in the world. My problem is that I'm the source without the resources. The problem of Africa, the problem of Nigeria is that we are the source without the resources. And the source without the resources means anytime I want to eat chocolate, or my son wants to eat a chocolate, I have cocoa right there in Imo State. But I have to wait patiently for my cocoa to travel 10,000 kilometers away, only to be fixed by somebody else somewhere 10,000 kilometers and send them back to me in small wraps at a more expensive price. That is my problem. Imo State is a state sitting on a gas. 90% of Imo State is gas. Yet I don't have electricity. That is my problem. So for me to put on any power or light, I have to wait for somebody somewhere in Europe to manufacture a genset for me and manufacture my diesel and send back to me before I can have light. So we're not a poor nation. What I'm seeing is a reversal theory of power, where the tenant has become a landlord and landlord become tenants. We ought to be the landlord and not tenants. Nigeria ought to be landlord and not tenants. In law we say, "Quid plantator solo sedate." Whatever is found in the land belongs to the land. But in Nigeria, it doesn't belong to the land. It belongs to foreigners. So that doctrine in law is a failure in Nigeria. Quid plantator solo sedate. Whatever is found in the land belongs to the land. Whatever is found in Nigerian land belongs to the Westerners. We can't even say how much of petroleum we produce. That's our problem. So let me keep that. I want you to follow me in this class so you can understand Nigeria better at 52. And let me take this lecture serious because there will be no handout at the end of this lecture. Now then, I've told you the problems and the challenges and what people think about us. Let me come to the word of leadership. Who then is a leader? The man that inspires others. And I'm going to talk about it. Then I'll bring the issue of Rochanomics. And some of you who are lecturers today, I'll be glad to teach Rochanomics in just a few minutes. Now, a leader is that person who has vision. So you cannot have a leader who does not have vision. A leader must possess vision. Vision is the pivot upon which every leadership activities must rotate. So a visionless leader cannot lead. And the second quality which a leader must possess is passion. Passion is that inner force, compelling force that drives a leader to be focused on what he believes in. People do not know that sometimes people watch your behavior. The students even watch the lecturer's behavior. This thing that his lecturer, does he really believe in it? If you don't act like you believe seriously in it, like your life depends on it, the child loses attention. So whatever you do in life as a leader, you must have passion for it. I like some of the preachers when they preach and they remove their suit and turn around. All this is to compel the audience. Listen, I'm not joking, I'm serious in what I'm doing. Leaders must have passion. Don't follow any leader who has no passion. Do not follow any leader who cannot tell you where we are going. Because every leader is a madman who sees the end from the beginning and hook himself onto the end unshakably, asking the followers to come. And if a leader does not hook himself properly, the followers get jittery. That's why I love that version of the Bible where Peter saw vision. People say he saw Christ. What he saw was vision. Something happened impossible. He saw vision walking on water. And he said to you, if you be Christ, bid me come. And the vision said to him, come. He has hooked himself to the end. And when he was coming, he started doing what the visionary was doing. He was walking on water. But behold, because he is not the architect of the vision, he lost track by distractions, by criticisms. Listen, this thing you are about to build, Vice Chancellor, this project you have taken to, are you sure you'll finish it during your tenure? This Vice Chancellor, are you not playing politics? You want people to notice you? That's why I put all these projects. Are you sure you don't want to run for governor of your state? This was what Peter had and began to look down. Leaders don't look down. Leaders look up. Never you follow a leader who has no vision. And never you follow a leader who is not focused. Every leader must they have the capacity to solve problems. You know, I don't like people sharing. That's why I tell people, listen, Imo State is the richest state in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And some people say to me, how? You know, very easy question. How? Why? When? Leaders don't ask how. They don't ask why. They don't ask when. Followers ask how, why, when. So I declare Imo State is the richest state in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and everybody has counted that, listen, it gets about 3.4 billion, and some states gets like 34, 40 billion. So what I collect in 2 months, some states, what I collect in like 6 months, some states collect in 1 month. But I'm not talking about money. I was talking about vision. The Bible says, my people are dead for lack of knowledge. They say, where there's no vision, my people perish. He did say, where there's no money. It did not say where there's no cash or where there's no dollar or where there's no naira. It's where there's no vision, my people perish. And every leader does not look at what is available to commence work. Vice Chancellor, the day you begin to look at the bank account, you will do nothing. Because bank account can never be full. That's the problem we have about leadership. And leaders don't procrastinate. Leaders is now. They don't ask how. It's now. That's a leader. In Imo State, I tell the story, I'm sure some of you have not heard. There's a crazy man in Imo State. Today I'm doing more than 1,000 kilometers of road. I'm building 305 new schools, 27 new general hospitals. I'm building a Ikembo Jubu Center. Ikembo Jubu Center, Hero Square, 2 universities coming up. Declare free education from primary to secondary to university. Pays children bursary in primary school. Provide free uniform, free lockers, free shoes and school bags every child. And they said to me, the offense now is, my offense is no longer, where is the money of Imo State? Nobody asks the question anymore. It's a question, how is he getting this money? I'm talking about leadership. Leaders are blind. Leaders do not see with the conventional eyes. Leaders see from the eyes of the mind. What we have today in Nigeria do I call them leaders? People with ambition. No leader has ambition. Every leader has vision. Ambition is that goal which you have set for yourself and which you must calculate the resources and the style to attain it. While vision is innate with the spirit, you don't even know what you are doing. You are simply a madman believing in what you believe in. That's why in Nigeria, we have more politicians than leaders. And politicians are busy thinking about the next election. Leaders are thinking about the next generation. Do you know why democracy has become a failure in Nigeria? But I tell you something. Democracy came like a wild wind which traveled from America to all parts of the world, and it became the best form of government, no doubt. But it was unwise and foolishness of Africa to adopt American democracy in total without culturalizing it in tandem with our people's culture. So democracy is defined as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But I have redefined democracy in Imo State. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people, and with the people. That is why I'll quickly introduce what is called fourth tier of government. I'm sure you have heard about it. The fourth tier of government brings you to the doctrine of Ohasherism and Ofusherism. I don't know why anytime I speak this my English, people laugh. What makes you believe that those language spoken in the dictionary was not manufactured by somebody? Ohasherism in the African context is a situation where Shero Ofonya Gahericha. Which is what is called the bottom-top approach. Unlike what we practice today, top-bottom approach of Fushirism, of Fonyin Shirioha, and Hagonago. I don't know, am I communicating? So my fourth-tier government is about Ohasherism and not Ofusherism. Because the principles of officialism brings about what is called kwashiorkorism. Now, you might ask me, and let me come on to myself now as a governor. The best way to describe most of us, almost all of us, is cashierism. Cashier. Kwashiorkorism we practice through officialism is a situation where the head is too big, which is called the central government, too big, and the state called the stomach very thin, and the leg called the local government feeble. So they keep working in a kwashiorkor manner. I don't know how many men are here when you see a woman with a big head and stomach bulging like kwashiorkor, legs like broom. Will you marry her? That's why nobody is marrying the Nigerian economy. The head is too big and the leg cannot carry it. So anytime breeze blow, like there's a drop in oil price, you see us walking like we are going to. Anytime the vice chancellor does not get a subvention in a month, you see hypertension will catch everybody. Leaders must decentralize. When my mother died, may her soul rest in peace, Around the students had meeting that since this man has been providing for us free education, some of them are in the university, some of them are here, because I take them to the university. Since my mother died, they're going to buy one crate of mineral. So I had 6,000 crates of minerals. I mean, can you imagine? So imagine one day when these my children now, some of them, one of them will separate them from a mad mother under the bridge. Now he's a medical doctor. Now imagine when these children all grow up. They grow up, and one day in my lifetime, I tell them I want to ride a car. I'm sure more than 1,000 cars will be coming to me. But if I have remained the enigma, Okusi Ogu, Okosisi, Agadaba Truzo, only you listen. In the laws of economics, there's what is called diminishing return. That's the problem. So leaders must decentralize. No wonder Christ had 12 disciples and gave them powers. Leaders must learn to exit at the shortest possible time. Don't follow any leader that stays put forever. The shorter, the better. In Africa, you see presidents and governors who are praying for third term, fourth term, fifth term. If you allow every governor, they will say, let the thing be in perpetuity. Leaders must exit. And that's why when people say to me, happy birthday, we wish you another 100 years. I say, take it, don't wish me, take. I don't want to live for another 100 years. I don't want even to live for another 50 years. Because that's how long you live. If a child dies in the village, you say you killed him. You must exit fast so that people can miss you. When people say, what a mighty God we serve, hallelujah, what a mighty God we serve. They're talking about Christ, because he exited early. If Christ had lived up to this time, we would have given him a name. So leaders must exit fast. Don't I personally do not believe in taking the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. I get this done now and now. So Vice Chancellor, your team, you have no time. Always say to yourself as a leader, I have no time. Whatever must be done yesterday, can't it be done today? And sometimes people say to me, and leaders don't say I'm tired. Leaders don't say I'm tired, I am weak, I am stressed, I am this. Leaders don't have a sleeping time. Because when you die, what will you be doing with the rest of the sleep? And they say to you, rest, find time to rest, rest. They're telling you rest in peace. I don't sleep, I can't sleep whenever it comes. Because there's always time God will provide. You can't cheat nature. If you walk throughout the night, one small time you have, you doze off. Listen, let me tell you, Africans are lazy. Don't tell anybody, don't tell anybody. We are lazy. Our lazy is contained in Iberibe chapter 1 verse 1. I don't want to bore you. I wanted to sit down and talk with you, but I've not even got the message. I'll be brief because I have to leave now. Let me make a bit. I'll come back again and give a proper lecture. But let me talk about, so leadership is our challenge. And the democracy that brings our leaders is faulty. That's why we have 40 leaders. Lion must give birth to a lion. Goat must give birth to goats. So if your democracy is goat, it must produce goats. If your democracy is lion, it will produce lions. Do you know how people win election now? If election is done the way it ought to be done to give us leadership, 80% of those in authority today have no business in authority. And check places that the people have chosen their true leader. Performance is key. But when you impose leadership on people, they don't cooperate. It becomes a task. So something must be done about Nigerian democracy if quality leadership must emerge. I don't know whether you practice democracy in Nsukka. I like democracy in institutions. Very easy. I see former chairman of ICANN removing his crown and giving to another a successor. That cannot happen in politics of Nigeria. In fact, the day of handover, the man who is supposed to hand over to you ran away. I'm not giving this lecture to discourage you, but they put the truth in a practical manner. But let me tell you how blessed we are. I say to people, we are the most blessed nation in the world. Do you know everything we plant in Nigeria grows? Have you noticed that? And I'm coming to you now at the university. This is your challenge. And I wish this might end endowment fund raising. And I want to see that happen in this university. Do you know everything that you plant in Nigeria grows? Even palm. You know palm? Palm grows anywhere you put it. You don't have to plant it to plant it. But yet we are poor. And the oil from palm is more expensive than the oil from petroleum. In Imo State now, I just turned around the other palm, which I now changed the name from Ada to Imo Palm Plantation. Today I brought in an Irishman now, and I made 3.2 billion in less than 1 year. From palm. It is only in Nigeria that if you leave a house for too long, a roof, grasses will start growing on it. Which means our soil is not only fertile, even the atmosphere is fertile. So Vice Chancellor, we When I ask you what's your population, you say to me about 50,000, 6,000 teachers. If I were you, plant a palm project and secure land now. In 3 years' time, if you can produce 1 million palm trees, you will tell federal government, don't come here again. That's what I mean by vision. Because the system we operate is the one that is of dependency. Sucking from the mother's breast. Do you know all these men, professors sitting here, if you are still sucking from a mother's breast, you have died by now. A time must come when a child must be forced to stop breastfeeding. If they didn't force us to stop breastfeeding, some of us at this age will be mama, and be chewing the old woman's breast. Nigeria is still a baby that doesn't want to grow. What pains me so much is that every month you see governors sending commissioners to go and look for money. If we don't get subvention for 2 months, this nation will close. What a shame. That's why I introduced what is called commercialization. I want to see a situation one day where Imo State will not go for subvention. How can I be Okorocha, managing director of Imo Group Nigerian Incorporated Enterprise Limited, with 5 million workforce, with arable land, and I'm the businessman, and yet I have to go and beg for money? Something is wrong with my state of Every university ought to be independent, for crying out loud. So if I were you, cut off quickly from this federal support and look inward. For as long as a man does not look inward, he can never be sociable. That is why any man that is in good terms with his landlord can never build a house. But all this is in leadership. Too much of dependency, which brings about cashierism. Local government is dependent on the state. State is dependent on federal government. Federal government depends on oil. Depend. For how long we say we are an independent nation? Nigeria is not an economically independent nation. We are an economically dependent nation. What we are having now is what is called neo-colonialism. That's why we have our children now queuing at the American embassy 3 days, praying and fasting to be given visa. To go to where? To look for what? If not the mentality of neo-colonialism. I love Bob Marley. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. There's mental slavery in Africa. Sometimes you need to tell your landlord, oh God, this is too much. Who are you? You say, me, pack, I will pack. When one door closes, another door will open. So leaders are people with this set mentality. But let me tell you a few things, then I round up. About this, what is happening with our nation and the backlog from creation, from inception 100 years ago. Tafawa Balewa, Awolowo, Azikiwe, Sardauna. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey. But the question is that how had our forefathers, how did they perform? The labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain. There's this beautiful restaurant. I love that restaurant. Somewhere in Mexico. If all of us go to eat in that restaurant, you see a big sign. Eat all you can. For your forefathers and founding fathers has paid for it. Then you can order for champagne, order for all the a la carte and all the wonderful food. Then you eat all you can. But behold, there's an exit door. In that exit door you are passing, you see another big signboard, pay for the future generation. The problem we have in Nigeria is that our forefathers did not pay. So we have a responsibility to pay for the past generation and for the future generation. So the task before us is enormous, and responsibility has fallen on new shoulders. We cannot be remembered in history as war generals anymore, because Ojukwu has taken that pride in history. He's been decorated with so many laurels. Babangida has taken it, Buhari has taken that. We can't be remembered. Neither can we be remembered in the area of education. Bishop Shanahan and the great educationists have taken that. There's only one space left for us in history. If subsequent history will write something about us, a sacrifice. And that brings me to my final theory of Rochanomics, Rocha's economic theory. I advanced this theory to help for African development because I weep every day in my life knowing that my people are dead for lack of knowledge. Today we are follow. Look at the computer now. You can never beat any master in his own game. For as long as Africa continues in this style, we shall remain a poor nation for history. There must be a reversal theory of power. We have ignored our culture. How can you beat an English person in English language? In fact, the best they can do for you is to applaud for you because you spoke well. But that does not mean that you're a master in that game. Africa has not changed. Listen. Thank you, students, children, thank you. Because what we go through to become a professor, other Western people don't go through to become a professor. First, they say you must pass English and pass mathematics before you can get a JAMB. Who put that law? What does it represent? What, tell me, excuse me, Vice Chancellor, tell me, what does that mean? Mathematics and English language as a prescript for admission is another form of neocolonialism. I thought you have said if you don't pass Igbo language. Do you know why mathematics is difficult? Mathematics is difficult because nobody has been able to explain it to me in Igbo language. If you ever explain 2x plus 3x is equals to 5 in the simple equation, nobody will beat me in this world. My problem is that I have to learn English language first before I understand the mathematics, before I begin to solve the question. So the world is tilted this way for Africans. And for every African to get, it's not this, it's this way. So we are going from the bottom to the top, and people are already at the hilltop. And then they say, oh, your mass run. How can you run with a man who is already on the hilltop? Why don't you have a school here? Specific university for specific projects. Every year, 100,000 people come out, no job. That's why I quickly set up what is called Imo College of Advanced Professional Studies. It's doing well. Today, what I do there is, listen, you must be a graduate, you have no job, then come. We are doing what is called oil and gas department, underground water welding, NDT tests, computer, and all these specific things. So when I brought in Shell, I'm already preparing the citizens of Imo State for job. That's the kind of education we need now. So I suggest that after university degree, federal government should introduce institutions of professional studies. So after your degree, you can go and master in one small thing. So university must change their style to produce for us what our economy needs for development. That's why my Rochonomics operates in 4 principles, and I'll be fast. 1 is sacrifice. Rochonomics principles, 1 is sacrifice. For every leader to be a leader, he must have the mentality of sacrifice. When I came in as the governor, I gave up my 4 billion naira security funds. If you cannot make sacrifice, you have no business with leadership. Sacrifice means giving away those things that otherwise would have been so comfortable for you, so that the ordinary masses can have a reason to smile. The other part of it, and that's why I love Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his. Okay, the only English there that is very attractive to me is the word only. God gave crying. For I so love you that I gave my only. Only means painfully giving. Our leaders must learn the act of painfully giving to the society. I bought all Jews for my commissioners. Meanwhile, I've not bought any single car for myself as a governor. Sacrifice is the name of the game. The other point is culture. And quote me, this is my quote. Every society of mankind is created by God with their own culture and natural and material resources. For no nation or society can grow outside their culture and natural resources, for both has a relationship with God. Rochas Okorocha. Our problem is today, you don't even know whether we are Americans. Look at the dressing here. Confusing. Some are Chinese here. Some are Americans. Some are Indians. Some are South Africans. Who are you? Your culture is the identity with which the whole world sees you. It's a mirror. How do the world see us? Do you know anytime you call an American man and show him this house, he doesn't get impressed? But I wish you have designed this with unko as a ceiling and some oshishi as pillars. He said, wow, what technology is this? I've made this compulsory that anywhere I go abroad, I must speak Igbo language. So I went to Kosovo, invitation by the Deputy Prime Minister, and the man started and spoke his language. They interpreted. I said, Najulam catch. Is that so? I closed it, is that so? Na Kawara here. Deputy Prime Minister of Kosovo. Kangwaza Kikawezoku. Obodano. Dika Okara Bodai. But I'm not going to put 2 million naira. I think Mata was with me, all of them were with me. Then the Senator Msikowa, or maybe before us, Your Excellency, the governor said I should tell you. Okay. That's about the culture. We must go back to our culture and our language. The other one is political will. Leaders must have political will. You can never be a leader if you don't have a political will. Ability to say no when you ought to say yes. What if your wife comes to you, Vice Chancellor, and said, this is my in-law. Since you started Vice Chancellor, I don't benefit anything from you. She will say it one day. I've never seen the reason for this whole thing. Is it all that I paid for? And she said that because of her conviction. I said, I have this my brother here. He's the only last born of our sister. And he has 2 credits. And I want him to go to university. Can you at that point say, no, I will not do it because it's against the policy of the institution? Political will. Leaders who do not have political will cannot make success. The 4th one is what is called decentralization. Leaders decentralize. Ability to let people do your job and you take the credit for it. You know, the wisest, smart leader is the one that gets people to do the job and he sits on top and take the credit. Do you know this government of Rochas Okorocha now? No matter what any commissioner does, it's me. The only way you can describe the attitude of a leader is lion. The greatest animal on earth is lion. And watch his style. When a lion finds his target, watch. He doesn't make noise. Leaders don't make noise. When he makes that sign, he has called all the small cubs. They all gather. Meanwhile, there's an elephant. You see how big an elephant is? As big as the nation's problem. But it takes a lion who is a leader to deal with that elephant. You must have an attitude of a lion if you want to be a leader. First of all, he sent that signal to frighten the huge elephant. You see, every leader must know how to package himself. If you don't package yourself, they will price you low. The difference between pure water and bottled water is packaging. When I came down there and I saw this man in suit, well dressed, I know that's the vice chancellor. But if I had seen somebody wearing jeans and this, maybe I would have passed him. So lions package themselves well. They package themselves well. First of all, he blows out that hair that makes it more frightening. You know what the lion does? Have you seen it fight? The head lion does not fight. He gives sign. This small, is it called? Will fly on the elephant. This one will fly, this one will fly. They just catch the leg, catch the body, catch the tail. This one will fling it around. All of them will fly out again. They persist. Leaders don't quit. So they keep attacking. Before this one will chop small leg. After a while, 2 hours, the big, huge elephant gets tired. You see it very down. And they will go. But when they get elephant down, the whole corpse again go back. Watch it, very interesting drama. The head, the leader goes back to confirm that he's dead. But guess who goes to the war? Is a female cub. And he asked the big lion, why are you not fighting? He said, no, I'm sitting quiet to protect the future generation. God bless you.
It is a well-established fact that certainly the problem of Nigeria over the years had been a leadership problem. The Nigerian leadership challenge is certainly not insurmountable. With insight and knowledge-based information such as is espoused by Rochas Okorocha, we can safely declare that the aspirations of our founding fathers will certainly come to pass. The problem with Nigeria is that Nigeria does not know its problems. Rochas Okorocha.